Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about books. Yay! I wanted to invent a little series that's called Let's Chat, and I think it would be the perfect time to introduce the series now. And the topic is Let's Chat, let's talk about books. If you have a topic you want me to talk about, just leave it in the comments and I will make a Let's Chat episode out of it. But let's go. We're talking books today. I think the most important question you can ask a reader is, why do you read? And there are different reasons for people to read books. Some people like to live different lives, for example, be a warrior, be a detective, or even be the villain. Some people just do it to gain more knowledge on certain topics, for example, psychology, reading people's minds. I mean, there are books out there that teach you how to read people's minds. But the reason I read books is because I like to escape our reality, which brings me to my next point, my favorite genre. My favorite genre is fantasy. I love fantasy books, fantasy stories, fantasy shows, fantasy movies, fantasy games. I mean, I got a dragon tattoo. I love dragons, and everything that includes dragons is just perfection. Now that you know my favorite genre and why I like to read, I want to talk about my favorite books. I mean, I used to read a lot when I was a teenager, but then it stopped. And last year, I was scrolling through TikTok. Who doesn't do it? And it recommended me a book. I bet if you clicked on this video, you heard of the book. It's called Fourth Wing, and it has dragons. Dragons. That's why I had to read it, and I think that book started my whole reading journey again. And I don't know, it was just perfect. Here are some of my book recommendations for new readers. Since one of my friends is still reading my Fourth Wing book, I can only show you Iron Flame, but it's the prequel of the first one. And it took me a bit to get through it, but still, it's a cliffhanger, and I have to wait, or we have to wait until January for the third part. But I really recommend this book if you love dragons, enemies to lovers, some spice, but also fantasy. I think the series is good for people who just got into reading, and especially fantasy, because fantasy can be a bit confusing for people who just started. So I might be basic for my next book recommendation. I bet you heard of it too, or even already read it, but it's the Akotar series. I specifically showed this book because, chapter 55, if you know, you know. Plus, my sister is reading the first book, that's why it's in her room, so I have to show you this beautiful book. So I took my time with this book, and it took me, I think, 2 weeks. But, I had to work and everything. I didn't have that much time to read, but this is one of my... I personally loved chapter 44. I just say one word, Starfall. Feyre and Rhys. I don't want to spoil anything, but you should definitely get the Akotar series. It's a must, it's a must. ASMR. The next book is not really a recommendation from me, but I just want to talk about it. I just started the Throne of Glass series, and it's the book The Assassin's Blade. So I read the first 4 books of the Akotar series, but I saw a TikTok that said you should read A Court of Silver Flame after you read the Throne of Glass series. That's why I didn't read it yet and started the Throne of Glass series. Some people say I should start with Throne of Glass and then The Assassin's Blade, but I started with The Assassin's Blade. And as for now, I'm on chapter 7. To be honest, and don't hate me for that, but I'm not really interested yet in the story and the characters. I mean, there's so many edits, and I know what this world is going to, or what this story is going to, and what direction it goes to. But as for now, I think it's pretty pretty hard for me to read, but I will continue. And back to Akuta, some people said that the first book was like very slow and hard for them to read, but I already like the first book, so I can't agree. But as for this, I know it will get better. And some people already love this book, but maybe I just have to read more chapters. But as for now, I'm sorry, it's not my favorite. That's why I cannot recommend it, because I'm still reading it, but I'm excited to see more of Selena Sadorthian. The next book I want to show you or tell you about, it's not fantasy, but this book it made me rethink or changed my view for humanity a little bit, if I can say it like that. It's this book, Everything I Never Told You. I don't know if you heard about it. I saw it on TikTok, like every book I buy and bought and read. This is about a family. The man is from China and she's from America, and it's in the 1970s, and it's just like the struggles of being a mixed couple and having mixed kids or mixed children. I feel like some people could really relate to this. I cannot relate. I'm not American. I don't live in the 1970s and I'm not mixed. What confuses me a bit about it is like time jumps. They're in the present, then I go to the past, and in the same chapter to the present, different POVs. Not different POVs, but it's like I talk about that one person and I change to the other person in the past and then to another person in the present. But overall, I think that's a really good standalone book. And if you want to rethink, or if you like books that make you think about life and meaning of life, I recommend this book to you. So that's for my recommendations. As for now, I don't know if you can see it, but in the corner, there's my little bookshelf. I don't have that many books yet. And I didn't read most of the books yet. But I would like to know your favorite book, your favorite genre, and if you have any recommendations for me. It doesn't have to be fantasy, although I really love fantasy. Sometimes it's just good, like this book, to have a standalone book when you just want to read a story where you don't have to imagine a lot, because in fantasy you have to imagine a lot and look things up, especially for me. Leave some recommendations in the comments, please, or DM me on Instagram. That's my Instagram name. Follow me there if you want. You don't have to. Don't feel forced to follow me. But I think it would be nice to talk about books a bit. And I have a question for you. Do you know any book that has like the main character and the main character falls in love with the reader? I saw that concept on TikTok, but I don't know if there's a book like that. And if there's a book like that, I want to read it. And if you know a book like that, please let me know. I really, 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 really want to read that type of book. And little side note, I'm also writing my own stories and books. They're not ready yet. It's still in progress. So I hope you liked this little chit chat video. It wasn't too boring, but I feel like if you like books like me, I think it's never too boring to talk about books or listen to people talk about books, because it's stories, books. I just like the freedom of reading. And I saw a quote once that says, "A reader lives 1,000 lives." And I think that's true. We live 1,000 lives in different realities. We can be a princess, we can be a villain, we can be a hero, we can be a knight, we can be a witch, we can be a dragon rider. We can be everything we want to be without being that. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. And I hope you click into my next video. Bye bye.